Hello and welcome. I am Scrabberlock, and this is City of Villains on the Rebirth server. We are with Nightmare Lass, our level 39 mastermind who has over 7 million experience points earned, a million point three to get to level 40, and the final upper tier of gameplay on City of Heroes, City of Villains. We are working with Technician Nailer, hoping to get a story arc from him, and he says, those Longbow and Portal Corp heroes just won't let up. We need a way to distract them, or at least find someone else for them to play with. Fortunately, I got a plan. Kind of dangerous and involves the Richtie. Excuse me. More specifically, it involves calling the Richtie down on the Longbow. You interested? Yeah, sure. We'll do that. He says there should be 4 devices that the explorers are using to pin down their coordinates. Plant one of those devices on each one of these devices on each one of them, and then get out of there. The Richtie should show up in a minute and head to the device. And so what we're going to do is try to call the Richtie down to whoever is in here, the Longbow, I guess. And hopefully this will get us to a story arc for him, but not yet. So let us summon our... Well, let's not summon anybody. Let's actually look for the devices. So we're going to go invisible and wander around since this is a huge area. So there's one device. We're going to have to get into a fight for this one. So we'll turn visible. And summon our guys. So while we're going through this mission, and there's another glowy over there, I do want to bring up and respond to a comment that Kievar made in a totally different video. He responded in Liberty last video when I was talking about build snobbery and people trying to tell you like sort of the right way to build your character. And he gave me a really it was a really sort of horrifying example of build snobbery, because I think it is sort of horrifying that people would act this way about a game like City of Heroes, where the build isn't really that crucial to success, as you've seen in my playthroughs. And so what Kievar was trying to do was build enhancement sets, and he wanted to know which enhancement sets were best for his character. So when we talk about enhancement sets, we're talking about something like this, right? This is a set of the 6 various different versions of all enhancements that are in the Command of the Mastermind set. And when you have them all slotted in, you get the green bonuses listed down there. Now, for each of the enhancements that comes in a set, each one is one of the, say, 6 you need. And if you look at the bottom, you see set bonus when you have 2, when you have 3, when you have 4, 5, and 6. You get different bonuses. And apparently, and I've seen this in some build advice for masterminds, what they had was for, like, I think it was Enchant Demon. The guy had 6 slotted it, and what he did was he put like 1 or 2 enhancements from one set and a couple from another and another from another. And what they were looking for wasn't actually the set bonuses, but things like the procs, right? If you slot this enhancement in, that every 30 seconds you and your minions get like +5 healing or whatever. And so he was putting it in for the procs, and Kievar, I guess, didn't want to do that. And he said what he wanted to do was have full sets. So he asked for build advice and said, no partial sets, please. I want to do full sets. And instead, he got a bunch of advice for full sets. And when he re-emphasized, I don't want... Oh, and here come the Rigby. When he emphasized that he doesn't want full sets, he was basically told, learn to play, noob. You need partial sets to have a really good build. No, you don't. Like, I've done this whole character on, other than that one set, on SOs. It's fine. We're having ambushes happen here. This is sort of weird. I guess the Richtie were supposed to fight the Longbow. This is really kind of self-defeating because we purposely placed items on the device to have the Richtie attack the Longbow, and then the Richtie attacked us instead, which is really kind of stupid. I'm not saying that Richtie wouldn't necessarily attack us, but it's sort of like, what is the point of this mission? What do we need Richtie for? Why can't I just attack the Longbow? I don't know. We'll probably get ambushed again. Here we come. Here they come. So yeah, unfortunately, there's no help for it. In a role-playing game, you're pretty much always going to be encountering people who are build snobs, and who will tell you if you don't build the way they build, you're wrong. And if you say, well, I build my way because I play the game differently from how you play it, they're going to tell you you're playing the game wrong, right? They're going to tell me I'm playing the game wrong because I don't build for the Incarnate Trials. Well, I don't want to play the Incarnate Trials. Well, you're supposed to. No, you're not. Doesn't matter whether you do them or not. All the content in the game is there for you to play. The developers want you to play it, but they don't insist that you play any particular thing. You don't have to do trials. You don't have to do task forces. You don't have to do the Incarnate Trials. You don't have to get Incarnate Powers. You can play the game without that. You don't need it. It's perfectly fine to do it the way I'm doing it. And you can do it doing Incarnate Trials if you want, and ignore the regular story arc content. Nobody's wrong for doing that. And I've tried to emphasize when I talk about how I play the game, and if you go back and listen, you'll see that I do all the time. I always emphasize this is how I like to do it. That doesn't make other people doing it wrong. I'll explain maybe what they do and how it's different from what I do, and why I do it my way, and maybe try to help figure out why they do it their way, or say I don't understand why they do it their way, but they like it. But I've always emphasized that there isn't a right and wrong way to play City of Heroes, and I don't think that the people who are like doing architect runs and focusing on incarnate powers are wrong. Now, I do think they're missing a lot of fun parts to the game, but if they don't consider those parts fun, or if they want to miss them, that's their prerogative, and they're perfectly willing. They have every right to do it that way. The game is here for you to experience whichever parts of it you enjoy. Just like saying you shouldn't play a Mastermind, you should play a Brute, or something like that, because I think Kievar also said that. It was like, dude, you should play a Brute. Why? I don't want to play a Brute. I'm playing as a Mastermind. I want to control demons. Right? I'm not wrong for wanting to play a Mastermind. This is a way to play the game that I'm enjoying. Why can't I? Or saying somebody's wrong for taking super jump instead of flight as a movement power, or teleport instead of super jump, or whatever. You're not wrong. You're playing the game the way you want to play. And so I always get frustrated when people try to tell each other how to play. I'm not talking about if somebody wants some advice, like if I ask, hey, does anybody know how to get this to work in bases? That's not what I mean. What I mean is telling somebody that their preferred way to play the game is incorrect just because it's not the way you play it. I just, that kind of thing just drives me absolutely nuts. It's present in every single role-playing game I've ever played in. There are always build snobs, and if you don't build their way, you're wrong, and you're a noob, and you're stupid, and you don't know how to play. Learn to play, you stupid noob, is pretty much their reaction. That's terrible. Just play the way you want, guys. Do the stuff you want in a game. Do what's fun for you. And don't worry if other people don't like it. They're doing what's fun for them, and there's the boss. They're doing what's fun for them. You should do what's fun for you. And don't worry about them. So the question is, am I going to be able to get this lieutenant without aggroing the boss? Probably not, but let's try. Oh, I gotta go back into stealth. And we still have one more glowy to click, but let's go ahead and defeat the boss since we found him. So we'll do our buffs. Try to see if I can increase my chance of hitting that lieutenant. And at least if the boss comes over, we'll smack the lieutenant around and... Oh, no. We still couldn't get him, so nothing we could do about that. And now the boss has seen us. I'm going to head over here and reduce his defense, and then have everybody attack him. Wow, even with my my Mez defense, he still got me. I hate the singularities. Let's see if we can kill it. Nope. Are you guys attacking it or not? Alright, just go after him then. Alright, actually, let's go after the little guy and make sure we get rid of him. Curly, he needs Mez defense. I didn't put enough Mez defense on these guys. Guess we can summon up our little ones. Curly. Don't want him to die. And now I'm caught. Man, this guy isn't even an elite boss. This is following the same pattern as fighting the family. When they pull out the singularities, my guys just can't deal. And I just can't give enough of them Mez defense fast enough, especially when it's also attacking me, you know. Alright, we got him now, I think. There we go. So we defeated the boss. Let's bring our extra minion back. Reapply our buffs. Yeah, that was a bit of a cluster F, because I was busy talking about playing the way you like instead of focusing on these guys. Alright, so there's the last. We'll just let our minions follow. There is the last clicky. The last glowy. Come here. You guys coming? Go get the nullifier. And there's the last glowy, so we'll just take him out. It really does lull you into a sense of overconfidence, I think, that we take everything out so fast, so easily, and then when you have a boss with a singularity or something, it's much harder. I don't know if we're going to need to fight anything here, because I think all we got to do is click. And we are done. Alright, guys. He says, you caused some real fireworks. Available missions. I lost contact with one of my other exploration teams. They're a bunch of Arachnos commandos I sent to investigate what could be the world where the Richti harvest some kind of slime they're using all over Paragon City. Bring back a sample. Alright, so now we have to go rescue the expedition and bring back a sample. Why am I not? Let's go. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about any sort of role-playing game, I mean, the same thing happens in D&D. Find the sample and find the survivor. Same thing happens in D&D. There's a lot of build snobbery in D&D as well. We're going to have to rescue the survivor, so I guess we're going to have to beat our way into this, right? Because we're going to have to bring them back out here. I'm going to drop a waypoint down, so I just have a vague idea where we're going. I'm going to find the survivor first, and then I'm going to kill my way to him. I'm going to go back and then kill my way to him. So there's the sample. But where's the survivor is the question. I'm going to lose that sample, aren't I? Let's get the sample, then I'll put my buddies away until I find the survivor, and then we'll have the survivor. Well, then I'll kill my way to the survivor, and then lead him out, because I'm assuming it's going to be a lead-out mission. So let's bring our minions up. They should be far enough away not to aggro anybody. I really should bring Curly out first. I'm used to, like, well, I can't say I'm used to anything. I mean, I've had Curly a long time. The little guys were the first ones I had, so I'm just used, I just got used to popping them first. And so I just sort of automatically do it now. Alright, let's go get these little hydras. These guys shoot out toxic, so my minions probably don't have much resistance to it, but I have a little, maybe they have it too, from the aura. Alright, we should be able to get the sample now. So now we just need to find the survivor. So I'm going to put the minions away, turn invisible. Go away. And see if I can find the survivor, and then once I've got the survivor, I will lead our way back to him. So there's some Rikti here. I want to figure out, like, what's the single path. There's the survivor. Okay. So the path is going to be along this route of trees. Basically, I'm going to follow the path that I took in. Okay. Alright. So now we know where to go. And we will resummon. And we'll probably start without Curly since he's not fully recharged yet. And then when he recharges, I'll just summon him. We should be fine without him. Temporarily. Oh, he's back. Let's go ahead and reapply our buffs so that Curly gets them. Give him Mez defense and then attack the Hydras. So the idea here is just to clear enough of the area so that if we have to do a hostage lead out, the area is clean. We may be ambushed, but at least it's clean of enemies that were already here. So it just makes life easier when you're leading them out. By the way, although you wouldn't know it from the fact that it's nighttime, they finally turned off Halloween, and it was daytime the other day when I was doing missions. So finally the Halloween event is over. My guess is the Christmas event is going to start in a week or two. It usually starts sometime in November. I like the events. I think they just go on too long. They go on a long time because people like them. But I really think 2 weeks at Halloween time and 2 weeks at Christmas is probably enough for the event. It doesn't need to start on November 15th and go to January 15th or something like that. And it just like Halloween didn't need to start on September 30th and go to November 7th. It's just too long. At least with the Christmas event, I don't think it's dark all the time. And there's some Rikti. Oh, he's a Guardian. Let's make sure we kill him. Because otherwise he'll buff everybody. Including the Hydras. There we go. Now, even though this other cluster of Hydras is not strictly directly along our path, we're going to go ahead and clear them out because they could get in our way. So yeah, build snobbery. You see in D&D, right? I'm sure there are people who would look at my friend who's got the Beastmaster Ranger and tell her she has the most gimped subclass of the most gimped class. in D&D, and she shouldn't play a ranger, and if she's going to play a ranger, she should play a gloomstalker or something instead of a beastmaster. And then even within that, she doesn't have her stats optimized because she's got a very high intelligence, which rangers technically don't need. Her character, between her and her beast, her character does more damage than anybody else on the battlefield. She doesn't need to be optimized in the conventional way that everybody tells you to optimize to have an effective character. There are lots of ways to have an effective character. One of the other guys started out as a rogue. Now he's now a rogue fighter. He's got 3 levels of rogue, 2 levels of fighter. But he's a dwarf with a really high strength and a 10 dex. And I guarantee you, we're being ambushed by the way, I guarantee you that most people would look at his build and go, it's not optimal. The guy has a 20 strength, and he has like a really high con. So he's got good hit points, and he does massive damage. And he does sneak attack on top of it because he's a rogue, right? So he just kicks butt. He does a really good job. And he also has, like, he's got expertise, I think, in athletics. He has plus 11 on die 20. He has plus 11 when he makes an athletics check. So the guy can do any kind of, like, muscular thing. At one point, that he wasn't able to open a chest with his thieves' tools because he doesn't have a high dex, and he didn't pass the roll. And he's like, screw it, can I just break the lock open? I'm like, well, make an athletics roll. He hit plus 11 to that. So he just broke the lock open. No problem. Right? So, yes, he's an unconventional rogue. Now he's a little more conventional because he's a fighter rogue, but still, most fighter rogues, people would build them dex-based, not strength-based, and use finesse weapons. He's not doing that. He's using strength weapon, and he's doing sneak attack. I think, no, he's using finesse weapons, but he's not using dex. He's using strength, right? You can use whichever one you want. And he's doing massive damage, and he's doing great. And the party hasn't got caught in any traps because of him or anything like that. They're 5th level, and he's doing just fine. It's not the conventional type of build that everybody would tell you to build. So they would say, most people would say, you did it wrong. By the way, this guy's really good at D&D, and he's been playing 5th edition since it came out, so he knows way better than I do about D&D, but he's not some noob who doesn't know how to build characters. And one of the other players who's also experienced, when we saw, like, the second session, the guy who's playing him hasn't been able to play with us much because of family situations, and that's been unfortunate. But in the second session, when we were playing him, one of the other players questioned, like, wait, he doesn't have a high dex? And the more experienced player said, yeah, I've thought about that. I think there's room in D&D for a strength-based rogue, and I've often had that as a build idea and wondered if it would work. So I want to see how this guy makes it work, and yeah, it works great. It's not a conventional build, but so what? And you know what else, guys? The conventional stuff's boring. Everybody makes the same kind of mastermind. Right? Everybody says, oh, this is the right way to do scrappers, right? Everybody, what did they make? What did they tell Kiovar to do? Make a fire brute. Everybody makes a fire brute because that's the farming build. Well, that's also boring. So yeah, be individual with your characters. Don't feel like you have to do the conventional build, and don't listen to the people who tell you you're wrong because you're trying something cool or different, or you're not uber maxing out your character. It's not wrong to play through this whole game with SOs, as I have demonstrated with my Stalker. No, I didn't actually want you guys to go over there, but okay. Come back. Come back. So, play the game how you want. There isn't a wrong way to play D&D, and there isn't a wrong way to play City of Heroes, and there isn't a wrong way to play World of Warcraft. There are lots of options. The developers often purposely give you options, and then players decide that this one option is the one that everybody should use. And then they say anybody who doesn't use that option is wrong. And this guy's going to be way easier to take out than the gravity guy. Just so much easier. No singularity. And just bam. And we don't have to lead him out. So we're all done. Mission complete. Alright, guys, out we head. I feel like... I don't know if it's the new computer. I feel like my load screens are much quicker than they used to be. I think it might just be the new computer. Alright, folks, we're 25 minutes in. I think that's enough for this episode. We completed 2 missions. Let's see if he's going to give me a story arc. Don't know. I thought maybe it'd have the little blue text that tells you, but we're not on a story arc for him yet. So we'll keep going. It may be that we have to get him up to this notch before we do a story arc, so it may be one more episode. I got a lot of enhancements to sell, but you know what? I'm not going to sell them right now, or I'm not going to do anything, I don't think, with the salvage either, because I don't want to leave here and have to come back. So we'll keep working on this guy and just collecting enhancements and salvage, and then when we're done with his missions, I'll worry about selling. Until next time, I am Scarperlock, and this has been City of Heroes and City of Villains on the Rebirth server.